Great morning, good people. Great morning. Now, here we are, Juneteenth, as a national federal holiday, and some people still don't get it. Let me take that back. A lot of people still don't get it. So, I want to just kind of put this in context for you. Are people grateful for the acknowledgement of Juneteenth? Yeah. And I say yeah as in like the shoulder shrug, because there's so much other stuff that also could be acknowledged. We have a tendency in our history in our society, in our country, to only celebrate the small wins, only celebrate the things that are just kind of the checking the box mentality, instead of making sure that we check the entire page, right? Instead of making sure that we do everything in its totality. So yes, created Juneteenth as a federal holiday, but what about police killing black people? Right? What about people still putting drugs in communities, and how the police have continually pulled over black and brown folks excessively, right? Again, what about the police killing black people? What about reparations? What about the violence? What about the housing market and how there's still redlining happening still to this day? What about not teaching about racism in schools? Right? There's so many different things that are still happening that actually are related to Juneteenth. What about the education gap between black and brown kids and white folks? Right? What about the wealth gap? There's so many things that we need to talk about. And so again, I'm not saying don't celebrate Juneteenth. What I am saying is don't get caught up in the hype of the media just because there's one small win. We still got a long way to go. But at the same time, how can you celebrate Juneteenth? How about you go and support a black-owned business? How about you recognize what the actual history of Juneteenth is? Celebrate with something red. Recognize that the red symbolizes the blood that was shed by the enslaved people as they were trying to figure out how to make this work. How about you educate someone beyond what the news feed is about Juneteenth, that does not necessarily look like you or come from the same background as you, or come from the same background as the enslaved folks who did not know that they were free. We're going to celebrate Freedom Day for sure all weekend, but I don't want you to sit at home like, oh yeah, I'm good, just because your company said, here's a check off the box.